Welcome day 5 of VEDA. It is also Saturday, so I am getting stuck into a project that has been floating around far too long. So here I have a cover that I've started sewing. Down here I have an ottoman that I bought 5 years ago when we moved into our cabin. It cost me the grand total of $19 from Fantastic Furniture, and it's falling apart. So I have started ripping the cover off slightly, but structurally it's still fine. To replace it, they're actually $39 now. So I want to have a go at recovering it. As you can see, it's been busted for a while, so everything's gotten really gross and dirty. So what I've done so far is I've measured it up. I've cut the sides and a square at the top, and I have sewn those around the edge, and then I've sewn about an inch down just so I could slip it over the top and made sure that it fit well, which it does. So now my next step is I'm going to strip out all this here. I need to replace the foam at the top too because it's just really lumpy and gross. Obviously it's very dirty and dusty, like that. The top of this has been broken for probably 3 years. So I need to get rid of all this leather, and I've got a feeling I'm going to need to replace this batting as well. So I've got my scrap batting box and I can get some new batting there. So this is a bit of a pain because it's all stapled on the bottom. So that just rips off, so that's really easy. But I'm not entirely sure I'm going to get these staples out. I might grab a butter knife. So you can see the timber inside there is all fine. Like there's heavy cardboard, I think it is, on two sides, which this side looks a bit cracked, but like I think it'll be fine for my purposes. The struts all look good. Yeah, it's just the covering of it. So I'm going to grab a butter knife and see if I can get leverage out these staples. So this project has been on my list. What about these feet? Oh, they just pop out too. So I'll keep those because I can definitely reuse those. Yes, I mean, like, it was only $19, but it still was in good enough condition. Like when the frame and everything is still fine, it just felt like a real waste to throw it out just because the cover was busted. So this has been on my list for ages, and I decided to make it one of my projects for this month. I started stripping off that cover, so it's been sitting in my craft room because it's just too gross to have in my lounge room. So I want to finally get it off my list. I've been trying to get to this since we moved into our house, which was about 18 months ago now. Some of these are going to be a bit trickier, I think. So I'm just going to go around and get all these out. Okay, so that's all the staples out, all the base removed. The feet are set aside over here, ready to be used on the next one. So now we need to, I'm just going to get rid of this old wadding just because it's all kind of connected to the top. It's all a bit gross. So I do have this here, which is a bit of a concern. Obviously it's just been sat on the side or something, but I feel like once I pat it, it's not going to be too much of a drama because I've got all the other structure. So let's get rid of all that batting. I thought I might have to cut this off, but this actually is just, okay. It was peeling up nicely until that bit started ripping off. Oh man, you're certainly seeing 5 years worth of wear on that foam. That is really gross. So I'm just going to pause, go take that and shake that off outside, and then we can keep moving. So I'm just going to give this a good wipe down because that was just so gross. Obviously there's still quite a bit to get off, which is going to be a pain in the butt. Do you know what I might try actually? Let's see how my cricket scraper goes. So with all of that gone, I'm actually planning on using a yoga mat. So I've cut the first square for the top. I'm going to do two layers, I think. So that's That's fitting on nicely. So I'll cut a second square. So I'm being very technical here. And so what I'm going to do, so I've marked the lines for the first one. Roller cutter isn't great, the rotary cutter. So I am actually going to try cutting this one by hand. I don't know, because I want it to be nice and square is the problem, thinking the rotary cutter would give me that. So square it up there. So then just with my texter, I'm just going to do a quick mark on each side. Like that. So I'm going to attempt this one with a scissor cut. Okay, so that's 2 layers. So I'll get rid of my yoga mat. So this is just one that I grabbed at Big W. It's about a 12mm thick. So there's 1 and 2. I'm thinking that should just give it a nice padded top surface. Okay, so the question is how to stick it. I don't know. That is an excellent question, but I haven't considered up until this point. So that's probably something I should have considered. So I'm just going to grab my Mod Podge, my glue brush. This is actually from bookbinding, because the idea is that the fabric will be the main thing that holds it in place, like the tension of the fabric. I'm just going to loosely add some patches of Mod Podge to hold it in place until we can get that fabric on. So we don't want it to shift under the fabric, but we also don't need to be super fastidious about it. Get that on there. Put a bit of weight on it for a second while it tacks into place. Oh, see, that's tacked it in nicely already. And so then for my second layer, just do the same thing. Use splodges of Mod Podge. It's just the plain matte Mod Podge that I use for 90% of my projects. So let's... Okay. So give it a bit of a push and a bit of weight. Just giving it a little wriggle to make sure they are fairly well in line. You can see they're actually sitting nice and flat. They're not bulging up there. So next step is my batting. So let's move this out of the way, pull up the batting and get that done. So we want our batting to 15 inches. So let's go 15 inches wide is what we want for that batting. Okay, so I'm just going to use all my scraps that I've got here. So I have a whole box full of scraps. So measuring that, I need it 15 high and it's 14 inches on each edge. So I need a total of 14, 28, 56 inches around by 15 inches wide. So you can see this is a bit tacky from where I have done some basting previously. Keep all my offcuts for exactly projects like this. I'm going to put that aside and just see how it goes. So I don't necessarily want to cut into this bigger piece if I don't have to. See how we go with this. I may even be able to patch a little bit into one. I actually think I'm going to get it out of this piece. The narrower bit doesn't start until further down. I'm going to have a place. So what I'm actually going to do, I might fold this table down so I can work on the floor and we'll see how that goes. So that side goes around nicely. That's a bit narrow, but because it's a board side, I think it'll be okay. You know what? It was a $19 ottoman. I'm going to go with that. Let's trim that one off. And now I need to just work out how to attach it. I may even just tack it into place with basting spray. That could work. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do, I'll lay the batting down. Just going to use my basting spray. And I'm just going to bring that up. Do that, and same on the other side. So I'm keeping that bottom fairly level where I can. It's got a bit of overlap there, so I'll just trim that off. There we go. I don't know that I actually need, maybe if I just do that. That bit there will fit, there. So just to tidy that up. Tuck that into place on that side. Tuck that into place. So with that ready, I'm going to set my table up again, grab my sewing machine out and finish this cover down the side seams, and then we can start stapling. Let's turn it the right way in, and in theory everything should just fit. Let's see. I'm actually kind of nervous at this point, even though I've previously tested the fit of it. It should, it looks like it's going to work. Possibly a little bit big up the top. The sides are twisting a bit too. That's awesome. It fits beautifully. Just making sure those sides are running down nicely, which they are. And so that means I can turn it over. And we get to do the fun stuff. Staple gun. So I'm going to go around and do the center of each side. So I'm pulling it down firmly, but not super tight so I don't warp it, but just firm enough to hold it nice and taut. So with that done, I've got the corners, which I need to work out how I'm going to do. Maybe just a miter, or do I go like that and then, no, that's not going to give me a sharp enough corner. Okay, so I think I'm going to go a miter. So go this one, I'm going to make sure that seam is in there, and I'm going to bring that seam along there. That, and then just fold that over. It's a little bit loose, I think, but I think for a rescued ottoman, it's going to work beautifully. So when I was measuring it and cutting it, I was just worried about making it a bit too snug. So that's the trade-off, is that then at this stage it's not going to be super tight and firm, but I think it's going to look cute anyway. Okay, so my corner's done, and just go. So I'm just going to split the gap and then split the gap again. So pull it firmly in the middle, and then in the middle of those gaps there. I will need to put a seal on the bottom of it, but I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for that yet. And then we've got the little, oh yeah, they actually push in. Pop those little feet in, because that's going to stop those, oh, shivers. Okay. So obviously that's not ideal. Don't want that nail to scratch my floor. I do have a hammer. It normally lives up on my tool board. However, my intrepid little scout pinched it to set up a tent at one point and promised me he'd return it, and didn't. Of course he didn't. So I'll just use my staple gun. And all right, moment of truth. Let's turn it over and have a look. Super, super, super cute. It's a bit firm on the top compared to what was there before, but you know, I think it's going to be fine. The fabric is Ruby Star Society. I got that one from thenextstitch.com.au. I will link it in my comments. But overall, that is super cute, and I'm going to go put it in place now and put my feet up. Thanks for joining. I hope you've enjoyed following me along on this project. I'll be back tomorrow with something else. I'm not entirely sure what. We'll see. See what the weekend brings. Have a great afternoon.